Glasbau Hahn is a glass-making factory in Frankfurt in Germany. Till Hahn is its director.
Our company has been based from the very start always in Frankfurt am Main. Originally we had been more in the center of the city, but during World War II Frankfurt was heavily bombed, and then we moved out a bit towards the east, and this is where we are and where we feel very happy. We can trace our company back to 1836. That's when my great-grandfather came to Frankfurt as a glazier, and he married a widow who had been in the glass business already before. And ever since, it's in the hands of the Hahns. Our company can be divided in 3 sections. The original one was strictly the glass business, windows, storefronts, glass doors, and so on. The second one is Louvre windows, a special window for ventilation. Perhaps the most glamorous part of our business is display cases and museum equipment.
Who are your clients?
Well, when I talk about display cases, our clients certainly are museums. Museums all around the world. After England, we were brave enough to expand into the United States. That was more special effort for the company, which has turned out very well. And now we are doing business with most places on Earth. We have, I think, 6 offices for representing us, spread around.
How many employees do you have?
In Frankfurt we have about 120 employees. There are about another 35 in Stockstadt who are doing the Louvre window business. And then we have about another 15 people in our various offices in Japan, in Tokyo, in China, the United States, and in England.
Who are your competitors?
There had been some glorious times in the past where we didn't have any competition. That was in 1935 when my father invented the first all-glass construction, meaning the bonding of glass to glass without intermediate framing. Then it was back in 1970 where competitors became more apparent, and they are not so much in Germany, but rather one of the competitors is based in Italy, one is in England. And we always meet when there's an international bidding to do. And usually we are the most expensive one, but fortunately our clients nevertheless rank quality highest. And the price tag is not the only decision factor. Otherwise, it would be very to our disadvantage. Our markets where we are very successful outside of England and America is lately, especially, is Japan, very important, China, and even Egypt.
Scott's Flowers is a flower shop in New York City. Robert Palliser is a florist.
My name is Rob Palliser. I'm a florist and I work at Scott's Flowers in New York City. My job consists of making bouquets. I create arrangements. I talk with customers every day. Very well. I also take orders on the phone every day, and I do deliveries. We're all set. I deal with suppliers and I deal with customers, both on the phone and in the store, as well as all of my employees that I work with, my staff and representatives.
Hi, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Every day, I handle customers who come into the store. I also handle customers on the phone. We get a lot of phone calls every day. We have a regular list that we deal with customers and suppliers. We have our suppliers out in Europe, all over Europe, even South America. And we have the same customers too, as well, every day. I spend most of my day speaking to people. I'd say very little is on my own. 20 contender, that's fine. That does not matter.
Just at a $6 order.
Being a florist, your communication skills need to be very high. You're dealing with customers and people every day, mostly every minute of the day. So it's important.
Anthony Rowe is a printer based in the south of England. Darren Armstrong works in the sales department of the company. How many departments does Anthony Rowe have?
On this site we have 14 departments. The first department we have is customer service. That's followed by pre-production or pre-press, which is to make sure that what the customer supplies us is of adequate use for the production process. We have a number of printing departments, lithographic printing, which is ink on paper. Digital printing, which is, I suppose, best described as large photocopiers, as well as colour printing. And then we also have a dispatch department, a goods in department, finance, estimating and sales.
What is your role in the company?
I work in the sales department. My main role is to find new customers, new business, but as well as that, a very important part of my role is to keep in contact with existing customers to make sure that they continue to be happy. They continue to place work with us, which is most important, and that there's no outstanding issues. We have a site manager who's in charge of the whole site here, and then we have departmental managers. So each department that I pre-mentioned would have a departmental manager. Each of those would be responsible for the staff within that department. I report to the sales director. So I don't have a manager on site. My manager is the sales director of what is the larger group.
Tell us about the history of Anthony Rowe.
Anthony Rowe was started by Anthony Rowe himself around 30 years ago. He started the company because primarily there was a niche in the market for what is short-run produced books. Anthony Rowe was purchased by CPI 6 years ago, and we have since grown to be a major part of the UK side of that group. And CPI is European-based. Its head offices are in Paris. We have 7 printing facilities, book printing facilities in France. We have 3 book printing facilities in Germany, 2 in the Netherlands, 1 in the Czech Republic, 1 in Spain, and 7 in the UK. So Anthony Rowe is part of 7 companies within the UK.
This is the British Invention Show. It takes place at Alexandra Palace in London, in England. The British Invention Show has been happening for 10 years, and it's taken place here at Alexandra Palace for 7 years. Inventors come from all over the world to showcase their inventions. The inventions at the show are very varied. There are practical inventions like this coffee machine. Users can adjust the caffeine level in the coffee by controlling the water temperature. The inventors developed the coffee machine so the user can control how much caffeine they want to drink. The coffee machine is innovative and functional. The inventors of the coffee machine have come all the way from Taiwan to exhibit at the show. There are many other well-designed inventions. This is the piano wand. It helps people learn how to play the piano. You put the piano wand on the piano keys and you can use it to learn chords and scales. It's easy to use and simply designed. Some inventions are stylish, like these boots. They're called Poogs. Poogs are made from sheep's wool and a waterproof man-made coating, which makes them hard-wearing. They're made with wool from European farms without any cruelty to the animals, so they're animal-friendly as well as eco-friendly. They are extremely attractive and come in a range of different colours, prints and patterns. With their mix of style and practicality, Poogs won the Invention of the Year award here at the British Invention Show.
My name is Dacia Hensel. I'm 31 and I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm an electrical engineer by training. I've worked for the last 5.5 years at Yara Trinidad Limited as an electrical engineer. I've received a BSc in Electrical and Computer Engineering from the University of the West Indies. And right now at Cranfield, I'm studying for the full-time MBA. Outside of work, I particularly like to spend my time playing tennis. I'm a little bit obsessed with it. So I look at the tournaments on TV. Try to attend if I'm in the country that they're being held, and I play a lot of tennis every week.
My name is Yang Zhen, and I'm originally from China. I came to the UK in 1999, and I did my undergraduate at University of Newcastle upon Tyne, and my major was in economics. And after my degree, I worked in the UK for 6 years. I worked in a private builders merchant based in the West Midlands called Carvers Wolverhampton, and I worked as an overseas procurement manager for the company. I really enjoy socialize with my friends, and also I'm quite active person. I usually go running, and sometimes if I have time, I will go surfing with my friends.
My name is Adam Cox. I'm 35 years old and I'm from Australia.
Can you talk about your work experience?
Certainly. I've been self-employed all of my working life for 18 years. I started my first business when I was 16 years old as a record store owner on the Gold Coast in Australia. From there, I opened a second store and a third. I sold those businesses off 8 years later. I then went to create a tour management business, which I subcontracted to quite a number of international record labels, touring international and national artists all across Australia. And then from there, I sold that business off and I started my own financial services and business consultancy firm, which I've owned for the last decade.
What qualifications do you have?
I did not finish high school. I do not have an undergrad. I have learnt pretty much all of my experience from practical application. I've attended a Harvard Business School executive education course in the last 12 months, and now I'm undergoing my MBA at Cranfield.
And what interests and skills do you have?
I have quite a large interest in the music industry, having spent half of my professional career there. I enjoy quite a lot of sports, and most of all, I enjoy interacting with people. So being in a consultancy environment works very well with my personality.
My name is Bryony Smith and I'm a project manager. I've been a project manager in the telecommunications industry for nearly 7 years. I've had quite a lot of professional training. I've had training in various different aspects of IT. I've had training in how to give good presentations, and I've also had training in effective communication. I've had some training in how to manage other members of staff, and at the moment I manage a team of 6 people. In the past, I've also worked abroad, so I speak fluent French and basic Spanish as well.
Quartz Power Group is an energy company based in the UK. Marcus, the managing director, wants to discuss the company's sales figures. He is meeting Maya, the finance director, David, the sales and marketing director, and Anna, the customer services director.
Now, you all know why I've called this meeting. Sales figures for our region are down and we need to address this as soon as we can. So I'd like to start by asking Maya to talk us through the figures. Okay, Maya?
Fine.
And then we can take a look at the products we're offering and compare them with the competition. So, Maya, over to you.
Thanks, Marcus. Well, I've prepared some handouts to show you how the figures are looking. If we look at sales year to date, so in order to meet budget this year, we will, in my opinion, have to start some cost-saving measures.
What do you mean by that? Redundancies?
That's one possibility.
I can't agree with you there. We need a strong workforce.
Okay, thanks, Maya. Look, cost-cutting is something that we need to think about. But we also need to stop the downturn in sales and regain market share. So can I bring you in here, David? Any comments?
Well, it's hard to know what the problem is. Our products are competitive.
So they're not getting better offers from the competition?
I don't think so. How about I talk you through our offers at the moment? I've prepared some handouts.
Yes, go ahead. It'll be good to look at the details. Okay, thanks, David. That was all useful information. So, Anna, can we turn to you now? Do you have any ideas why this downturn is happening?
Well, it's true we are seeing a decrease in custom in our region. There's also been an increase in customers cancelling new contracts within 14 days.
But do you know why? Do the customers say why they don't like our offers? I personally feel that this is vital information. I mean,
if I can finish what I was saying, I'd like to suggest we review our customer account procedures from first contact to after-sales care. I mean, perhaps it would be a good idea to start with that and see if the sales figures improve.
Thanks, Anna. What do you two think of that?
Can I make another suggestion? I think we need to see the whole picture. From the customer's point of view. A customer survey, perhaps?
That would be a big project. It would need a project team, which means taking staff from other departments.
Actually, I was thinking about hiring an external researcher. Get a neutral view on our position in the market and customers' views on us.
Oh, I like that idea. I think it could be very useful information.
Which department pays for it, though?
We can talk about that in a minute. Do you agree in principle, though, that we need to understand the cause of the problem?
Yes, I suppose so.
Good. David, could you look for a market research company we could work with on this?
Sure.
Great. Well, let's move on then, shall we?
How do you usually travel to work?
By car, I'm afraid. I should probably say by tram. But I use the car. It's about a 10-minute drive from home. Because I work late and I don't like to be using the tram or the bus at 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Usually I cycle to work, but sometimes if it's raining, I take the bus.
I usually cycle to work, and when the weather's bad, I drive.
How many trips do you take a year?
I take between 3 and 5 trips abroad for work every year, and maybe 1 personal trip.
I take 12 foreign trips per year on average, and I always travel to any event that I'm training at.
I usually take between 10 and 15 business trips a year. Most often that's to New York or Milan, but sometimes also London.
What do you like and dislike about travelling?
I like the excitement of travelling. I like discovering new places, but I don't like queuing.
It's nice to visit new places, but I don't like the fact that it's very tiring.
I enjoy being in a different place. I enjoy getting to meet people in other countries and experience new things. I don't enjoy waiting in airports for a long time and being away from home for long periods.
Well, I love the travel that I do, but I would really love to spend less time in airports.
Sometimes it can be quite stressful, and I'm always worried that I will forget something, like my passport, for example. I quite enjoy visiting new places and meeting new people. So, in general, I enjoy it.
Can you describe a disastrous trip? What went wrong?
About a year ago, I was flying out to Iceland when the volcano erupted, and I was stuck in the airport for 13 hours. It was horrible.
Once I went on a trip to Spain and it was snowing in the UK and my flight was cancelled, so I couldn't come back for another 3 days.
Yes, I went to Hong Kong about 10 years ago and I was working out there. I wanted to take a holiday and go to Indonesia, but I realised at the last minute I didn't have enough time on my passport. I needed 6 months. I'd already booked the holiday, I'd already paid the money, I'd already arranged with friends who were going to come with me. And so I had about 48 hours in which to get a new passport, otherwise I was going to lose out on the holiday. It was a bit stressful, and in the middle of all this there was also a really bad cyclone, and the embassy was shut for a day, and I really thought I wasn't going to make it on my holiday, but I did.
Love Film is an online company with 1.6 million customers in the UK, Germany, Sweden, Norway and Denmark.
I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Love Film, so I'm responsible for all of the, ultimately for all of the new customer acquisition and retention, as we call it. So getting customers and keeping customers and getting them to use the Love Film service in the countries that we operate in within Europe.
When did Love Film start?
Love Film was actually born in the early part of 2004 when the investment company and financial backers behind the business bought a technology company called DVDs on Tap. We created a new business out of that called lovefilm.com, which I think actually launched in the first or second month of 2004 in the UK.
What does Love Film do?
So Love Film is in the business of delivering films to people, films and TV series. We started life as a purely DVD rental by post business and are emerging as what we call a hybrid or a fused business, a joint business of DVD rental by post and streaming by TV, internet TV or games console or PC. So essentially we've set out to create the largest possible range of film and TV series and deliver them to people in as many markets, as many geographical markets and as many horizontal markets as possible on as many devices as possible. So we have over 70,000 titles available on Blu-ray discs, on normal DVDs, available on digital to be streamed or available on digital on a pay-per-view basis. So people use both. The newest part of our service is the streaming service. So still less than half of our customers are streaming regularly, but that is in all honesty, that's exploding. That's a really fast growing and fast emerging part of our service.
Tony Adams is the Customer Services Manager at Love Film. How does the customer get films from Love Film?
Well, we're an online business, so the vast majority of our customers come through our website and are signed up directly on our homepage. The way that the service works is that you select the films that you would like to watch via our website, and we always recommend at least 10 titles. We will then send you a disc out, depending on what your package is. You get to watch it and then you return it. And as soon as we get it back, we will send you another one.
How fast is the service?
So our promise is that when a customer returns a disc back to us, we will get them a replacement out within one business day. And we hit that pretty much all the time.
Can customers track their DVDs?
Everything was done online, so when we receive a disc back into the distribution centre, we log it straight onto our system, and that's then reflected on the customer's account, which they can see. Likewise, once we've selected their new title, again, that's updated onto the system. The customer can again see that through their rental page, and we also send them an email to confirm that particular disc is on its way to them, so they know when to expect it.
What logistical problems do you have to deal with?
From the physical service, obviously the key factor that impacts our business is anything that's going on in terms of the Royal Mail. So, for example, last year when we were hit by the bad weather, that did delay some deliveries to customers. But we're very quick to communicate to customers where we think that there might be something that's going to slow down their deliveries, and we try and do something that helps them feel that they're still getting the service. So, for example, we'll draw their attention that they're still able to watch online, or if the problem is continued for a period of time, we'll do something to try and make it up to them.
The town of Sulzmatt is in the east of France, close to the borders with Germany and Switzerland. Local people first discovered a source, or spring, in the 13th century. In the 17th century, the local government of the Alsace region allowed companies to exploit the springs in the area and sell the water. However, by French law, The companies have to allow local people to use the spring water and to fill from the spring. Effectively, the spring water belongs to the local people. Source de Sulzmat is the company which runs the spring for the town. It employs 33 people and produces an average of 100,000 bottles of water every year. The company has managed to stay profitable in a very competitive market, dominated by enormous European brands like Perrier, Evian and Nestlé. The market for bottled water has grown very quickly. Between 1990 and 2005, consumption of bottled water grew by over 400%, rising to an estimated 200 billion bottles of water per year. The source or spring itself is about half a kilometre from the bottling plant and goes deep under the ground. The water comes up at a steady speed and goes by pipe down to the plant in the town below. The bottling plant does not run every day, but it produces bottles for transportation across France and into Switzerland and Germany. The company concentrates on niche markets, selling into the local area and into local supermarkets. Les Sources de Sulzmat now produces many different types of water for various different types of customer. Since the 1920s, it has produced a brand of water called Lisbeth. It is named after one of the director's daughters, and it sells to supermarkets. Although the town of Sulzmat has produced mineral water since 1853, the company has only recently expanded production into flavoured waters and colas. Source de Sulzmat now sells these new lines in supermarkets across France. One of their best-selling brands is their cola brand, Alsace Cola. There are also other lines of lemonade and tonic water for mixing with drinks. These sell into hotels and restaurants. In a huge industry, the small town of Sulzmat and its source remain profitable and provide employment in the local area. Patricia Reyes is a market researcher. She has recently completed a customer survey for Quartz Power Group and is presenting her findings to the managing director and the heads of department.
My name is Patricia Reyes, and I represent a company online researcher. Some of you may have met my boss, Duncan Brockway, who is here to present our services and discuss the options of online market research. But for those of you who don't know about the background to the project, I'd just like to say a few words about who we are and what we do. Online Researcher delivers web-based market research for companies who want to base their future strategies on customer needs. I joined the company about 5 years ago after working in retail management and customer care. And my main area of responsibility is coordinating our surveys department, which specialized in getting accurate online feedback from customers. I have conducted the research for your company from beginning to end, so I'm here today to present you with the results of that survey. Now, to do this, I've divided my presentation into 3 parts. Firstly, I'll talk about the background of the research. Then we'll look at how we approach the research. And thirdly, I'll summarize the key findings of the research. So let's start with a brief description of the background. 6 months ago, your company found that there was an increasing number of customers in one of your company's 3 regions that were canceling their contracts within 14 days. There was also an increasing number of customer complaints in your call center. So the key questions our survey needed to answer were, why so many complaints and why so many cancellations? Of course, there were also some other issues that our survey needed to take into account. So essentially, the purpose of this survey was to answer your questions about customer numbers. I'd like to turn now to how we decided to approach the research. As I mentioned before, there were a growing number of customers who were canceling their contracts within 14 days. So it was important that our survey reached those people. However, in the same region, there were new customers who didn't switch provider. So it was important to include a cross-section of those people in our survey. So let's recap what I've said about the approach. We emailed the survey to 90,000 across the 3 regions and received a 4% response rate. Now, this is very good for this type of survey. We then analyzed those responses and compiled them in a report for you. And that leads me on to the third part of my presentation, the actual results of the survey. Now, do all of you have a copy of the handout with the survey's findings? I know you probably haven't had time to study this in great detail, but what I'd like to do is give you an overview of the results and talk about some issues for your customers. So those are all the key results of the survey. I hope you will be able to use them effectively. Well, I've come to the end of my presentation. I hope this has given you a good overview of the survey, both its methodology and the results. As I said before, you can study this in greater detail in your handouts, and I'd be happy for you to email me any further questions. So thank you very much for listening, and if you'd like to ask me any questions now, then I'd be happy to try and answer them. Yes.
Table for 2?
Yes, please.
Okay. Over here, please.
Patricia Reyes is a market researcher. She has just finished presenting her research findings to the managers at QPG and is now going for lunch with its managing director, Marcus White.
Excuse me, just one moment.
So how did you think the presentation went this morning?
Good, I think. There was a positive reaction from most people.
Your research has been very thorough. We've been pleased with your work.
Sorry about that. It's the lunchtime rush. Can I get you some drinks?
Yes, I'll just have some sparkling water, please.
I'd like some still water, so a bottle of both, please.
Okay, I'll go and get those for you. Do you need another moment with the menu?
I'm ready.
Actually, I need a few more minutes, please.
So, how long have you worked for the company?
Oh, now you're asking. It's been nearly 20 years.
Wow, that's a long time. Must be a good place to work then.
Oh yes, it definitely has its benefits.
Here you are. Are you ready to order now?
Yes, thank you. Patricia.
I'll have the lasagna with a side salad, please.
The lasagna comes with a salad.
Oh, that's fine.
And I'll have the seafood pizza, please.
Okay.
So, how's your hotel?
Very good, actually. Lovely rooms.
Yes, we usually use that hotel. I hear it's very comfortable.
Excuse me. I'm afraid we're out of a seafood pizza. All of the other pizzas are available, though.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you recommend?
The Four Seasons is very good.
Okay, I'll have one of those then, please.
Okay, it won't be too long.
I'll get this.
Oh, thank you.
I'll just get the card machine.
So we should be finished by 4 o'clock today, so you might have time for some sightseeing.
That would be nice, but I'm afraid I'll have to catch up on some work this evening.
If you could check the amount and enter your PIN number, please. Here you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
So thanks again for lunch.
You're welcome. We better be getting back.
The John Lewis Partnership is one of the UK's leading retail businesses. Colin Kupfert is the Learning and Development Coach at John Lewis.
The John Lewis Partnership came into being in 1950. We've now got in a region of 78,000 people who work in the John Lewis Partnership. It includes about 32 department stores up and down the country, over 250 Waitrose supermarkets, plus our internet business. We have a production unit up in Lancashire near Blackburn, and also we have a farm of about 4,000 acres in Hampshire where we grow and produce a lot of the milk and apples and mushrooms that we sell in our Waitrose supermarket. We have partners. Essentially, most other businesses would refer to them as employees or staff. We call them partners because they are all partners in the true sense of the word. They all have responsibilities and share in the benefits of our business. That doesn't mean when they join us on day one they get one share of John Lewis. It means at the end of the year, when we worked out our profit for that year, every partner will receive a proportion of their annual pay as a percentage. So whether you're a Saturday only partner or the chairman, you would all receive the same percent of your pay as your bonus. So that's almost like the dividend that you would get if you were a shareholder in another business. We call them partners because they all have a part to play in our success and sharing that. Like any business, we have to be successful, and therefore we have to make a profit. Because we don't have any external shareholders, we don't have to produce a dividend to keep other people happy. We have to make the profit, and we want the profit to be sufficient to enable us to continue doing what we do. And what we do is to look after our partners in the terms of the employment and the benefits we offer. Because we believe that if you look after the partners, they will therefore look after the customers. Look after the customers, they will look after your profit. And we have what we call the partner customer profit cycle. And that's what we live and work to. Other ways that we kind of measure our success obviously is turnover, because the turnover feeds directly into the bonus. But we also look at the feedback we receive from outside bodies, which reports, verdict reports, the customer service groups that are available, and we regularly, between John Lewis and Waitrose, feature in the top 2 or 3 companies for those. Again, for us, really important. We like to always pay the best rate for the right level of performance. We're constantly looking at the what we call the market rate, which is what the going rate for a particular job is. But within our pay structure, every partner has the opportunity to work their way up. We have a very comprehensive training package called Horizons, which has a huge amount of resources, courses, books, videos, DVDs, coaching sessions that partners can sign up for to help them achieve the best in their performance. We have the bonus that we mentioned earlier, which was last year about 18%. We also have in all of our workplaces subsidised dining, minimum of 4 weeks paid holiday, rising to 6 weeks after 10 years. We have a final salary non-contributory pension scheme. We offer something called long leave. After 25 years of continual service, a partner can actually take 6 months off, fully paid, to just go and get away from their normal work regime and just experience something different. So we're constantly trying to find new ways of making the life of our partners fuller and enable them to do more than they perhaps would do. Pay is important, but to us pay is just one part of partner development and partner growth, and we hopefully have a pack that's second to none.
Edible Oil Direct is an independent, family-owned company that was established in 2004. Peter O'Hara is its managing director. Tell us about your company and what you do.
What we do here is we retail cooking oils, all types, to the catering trade. We then, when those oils are finished with, we collect those oils. We bring them back here, we refine them, and we turn them into a biofuel, which is sustainable for all types of applications. And that is the company in a nutshell, so to speak. Basically, we are very much into the renewable energy, and the company was based on a closed loop philosophy. And that closed loop represents something that has a starting point and has a finishing point. In other words, a complete cycle.
Why did you decide to set up Edible Oil Direct?
I wanted to get involved with something that was going to help the environment, which was going to help like CO2 emissions. So that was my first stage, and the starting point was selling edible oil, which eventually would turn into a biofuel.
Can you explain what makes edible oil sustainable?
The fuel that it's going to be, the biodiesel as we call it, is very much sustainable. Then in the fact it lowers the emissions levels, there's hardly any CO2. It's also a very good lubricating factor for engines, and the solvents within that biofuel cleans engines. And therefore, it really is something for the future, or we hope it is anyway.
How do consumers benefit from using sustainable fuel?
Well, apart from obviously the environmental side, which is on the emissions and the low CO2, it's the benefits. It helps the pocket as well. The government have allowed a differential on duty of 20p, and therefore that 20p is passed on to the consumer.
How has edible oil developed since it was set up?
We've been going now for 7 years, just over 7 years, and it's been rapid growth. You know, starting from me in a little van delivering oil, we're now approaching a 5 million turnover per annum. That is going to grow next year. We employ 15 people, and we're hoping to introduce another 2.
How do you see the future for the company?
The changes are happening all the time with the business since we first started, and I think it's very much the changes are pushing us rather than us pushing the changes. One of the things that we need to do is to try and convince the OEMs, which are the car manufacturers and the truck manufacturers, that biodiesel is a sustainable, clean fuel. We're also looking to expand the business. The business needs to expand. And again, it's not a question of us pushing to expand it, we're being pushed to do that. We've bought a premises which now occupies well over 14,000 square feet. So we're able now to introduce a new biodiesel line, which the extra demand from next year for biofuels from our major customers, and also to portray a better image of our business to the likes of the OEMs. So the future does look bright, and it looks green.
What do you spend most of your working day doing?
Most of my working day I'll be at my desk, on the telephone to colleagues here in the office or abroad, and also in meetings.
Well, most of my day is spent looking at emails and replying to colleagues, and I will sometimes make phone calls, and sometimes I'll go around to meetings as well.
I spend most of my day at my desk. I also spend a lot of time in meetings, and I don't really like that, but it's necessary. I have to reply to quite a lot of emails and answer phone calls, but my favorite is when I have to proofread articles for the magazine.
Do you ever waste time?
Well, I wouldn't say wasting time, but in my office we get on very well, so we'll stop and have a coffee break and chat for maybe 10 minutes before everyone gets back to work.
I think sometimes with the internet it's quite easy to waste time sometimes, but most of the time I'm working, I think.
Yes, I do sometimes waste time. Generally emailing friends, that kind of thing, and also on the internet sometimes, and sending funny emails to other people in the office.
Sometimes I spend time chatting with my colleagues who are in the same office as me, but I think that's all part of the working day, really.
Are you good at multitasking?
I think it's necessary in almost any office job nowadays. I have to do it. I've had to become good at it, I think.
I have to do a lot of multitasking in my job, but I don't like it. I'd rather focus on one thing at a time, and I think I work better if I'm doing that.
It's something I've had to learn in this new job, so I wasn't very good at it to begin with. I think I'm getting better at it, but I do have to concentrate and make lists of things that I have to do.
I don't like multitasking because I think it decreases efficiency, but I have to do it. And I usually try to answer phone calls immediately because it could be something urgent, but I sometimes ignore emails. If people email you, they're usually prepared to wait. They don't expect you to email back immediately.
Are you good at managing your work time?
I think I am, because my free time is very valuable to me, so I don't want to have to stay late in the evening because I haven't accomplished everything I needed to in the day.
Yeah, I think that's a really key part of my role, actually, and I think I do it really well. I have lots of different systems for managing my time and my workload.
I always try to plan in advance because it makes me more efficient during the day, and I have a to-do list and I try to stick to it. But there is always something unexpected that comes during the day, and I have to deal with it immediately.
Paul is the Human Resources Manager at Quartz Power Group. He has called a meeting with some of his colleagues to discuss a new training programme.
Right, shall we get started? Well, we're here to talk about a new training programme for the call centre. David, I asked you to come because you were involved in the market research we did, so I thought you could give us a short summary of the findings. And Anna, obviously, it's your customer service teams who will be affected by this.
Yes, exactly.
So we thought you might have some ideas on the best way to approach the training programme. And Maria will be developing and running the training. Okay, David, could you run us through the main points from the research?
Sure. We worked with a market research agency over a period of a few weeks to gather information about our customers and what they thought of us. And the results were, well, mixed.
Sorry, can I just check, why was this research done?
Had there been complaints or...?
Some complaints, yes, but also we are losing customers in the region and we wanted to know why.
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand. Was the research about getting customer points of view or about customer profiles?
It was to get customer feedback on the company and its services.
Right, I see.
So the results showed a few areas where customers were not happy. One of the most common, how shall I put it, issues was with the call centre.
I see. Can you be more specific?
Well, basically, it seems that customers feel they are not getting good service and they are leaving us for another supplier.
Right. So are you saying customers are leaving us because of the service from the staff, or could there be other reasons too? I mean, could it be that we haven't got very good systems in place for our staff?
Yeah, could be. Anna?
Look, I have no problem with giving the staff a refresher course, but starting completely from scratch seems like a waste of time and money. They all receive training when they start anyway.
Yes, that's a good point, Anna. And we don't know yet if we will have to start from scratch. It may be that we haven't done enough to monitor their activity, and that a simple refresher course will be enough. Or it may be that we have to look at customer contact from start to finish and try to implement some new protocols. Maria?
Yes, that's right. I'm sure there's a way of dealing with this sensitively. Anna, I realize it's not easy for you to suggest more training for your staff. So I wondered if we could start with a review of the current training approach and look at what we need to do to address the problems brought up in the survey.
Yes, we could do that.
But I would need to look at the full report first, of course. Anna, I understand your point about possibly wasting time and money, so perhaps you and I could look at the report together?
Yes, okay.
Then we'll be able to decide what needs addressing and how. If it's more training, or even a complete systems overhaul.
Good idea. I've brought in copies of the report. Perhaps we could start with the highlights first.
Hello, you must be Anton and Sally.
Maria Harris is the training manager at Quartz Power Group. She has developed a new training program for staff in the call centre. Today, she is running the first training session of the program.
Thanks. Okay, we're all here now, so let's begin. So, thank you so much for coming to this. As you know, we are planning on starting a new training program for the call center operators. And you are here as team leaders in the call center to understand what the training will be about so that you can monitor everyone's progress as the new practices are implemented. Okay? But before we go into the training program, I thought it would be a good idea to introduce ourselves. I'd like to hear about your role, your background, and what you hope to get out of this course. But why don't I begin? My name is Maria Harris. I'm a training advisor here at QPG. I've been here for 6 months. Prior to this job, I was working in the HR department of an IT consultancy, where I was responsible for hiring and training up new recruits. However, I haven't always been in HR. I started out in sales, and during my first job after university, I got a certificate in professional sales practice. I think that is part of the reason that I have been asked to develop and run this course for the call center staff. So, in my current role, I am looking to improve the training that we offer to both new recruits and existing staff. I think after 6 months, I'm now familiar with your training programs. I have been consulting with a lot of different departments on their training needs, and this is the first course that I have been asked to prepare and run. I hope you find it useful, And your feedback on it will really help me improve it over the next year as we roll it out to your colleagues in the call center. Can I hand over to one of you now? Who would like to introduce themselves first?
Okay, I'll go. My name's Anton Costa, and I'm a team leader in the call centre.
Thanks, Anton. Could you tell us a bit more?
Well, I've been working here for about 4 years. I started off as a call centre operator, dealing with customers on a day-to-day basis, but I was recently promoted to team leader, and I have 8 people in my team.
Okay, thanks, Anton. And can I ask what you hope to get out of this course?
I suppose it'll help us to be more efficient in the future.
Great, thanks. Okay, Sally, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Right, well, I'm Sally Croft. I've been a team leader in the call centre for nearly 3 years now. In my previous role, I was a call centre operator, like all of us, I think. And before that, I worked briefly as a sales rep. Over the last year, I've been doing a correspondence course in human resources, and I'm hoping to get into HR in the future.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, good luck with that. Thanks, Sally. Okay, what about you, Tanya?